At ease. I want to keep this briefing brief. Time is a luxury we do not have. Direct cable communication has been maintained with Washington, but there is no radio at all. Now this much is certain. We have recently acquired new information from Majestic about the imminent threat to mankind. This is the enemy. Take a good look, gentlemen. They hail from the planet Gorta in the Proxima Centauri system and call themselves Furons. Their technology is generations ahead of ours. Their air power is superior, and their arsenal is frightening. More disturbing evidence has emerged. THQ and Pandemic Studios are in bed with the enemy. Roll the film. From their innocent-looking headquarters in Brisbane, Australia, comes mankind's greatest threat. Using advanced technology known as a computer, they have developed an alien training aid. We believe they have been consorting with the Furons under our very noses for a number of years. What you are about to see are the traitors to mankind.
In the game, you get to play one of the aliens called Cryptosporidium.
He's looking for brain stems. Brain stems, they've got ancient Furon DNA in them. They need it to reinvigorate them, their own DNA pool. Doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand, but he's always out there, grabbing brains. Human brains. Pathetic humans. All around town, you see them doing chicken dances. It's the Furon. He gets into their minds, their weak little minds.
The Furons have psychic powers in the game we're making, of course. They don't really exist. For instance, they have telekinesis. They can pick up objects and throw them around.
It's one Furon, Crypto. He uses psychokinesis, picks up the cows. I don't know what he does with them. Why the cows?
That's not all. It gets worse. Guns, tanks, bombs. They're like toys against them. This is what we're up against. Roll the film.
They've got some pretty cool weapons, there's no doubt, particularly from the UFO. UFOs definitely beat cars, there's no doubt about that, and gives you a much better view of the city and a bit more destructive power, and even on the ground, using a jetpack sure beats walking.
You've got your classic death ray, which is just sort of singeing through buildings and cars. Those cars can be picked up with the PK ability and set fires alight elsewhere. Then you've got your quantum deconstructor, which is like the all-out, the amazing weapon. It's the one that I guess you're not going to get many of in the game, and that's just going to blow everything to bits, basically.
The aliens have vastly superior technology, and there's no way that you're going to stop them. I mean, you have to warn people. I mean, if you have to bring down the government to stop these things, you're going to have to do it!
There'll be panic. There'll be chaos. They'll destroy all humans.
In order to remind ourselves what exactly it is that we're up against, I asked the boys in the lab to cut together this next piece of film.
The coolest thing about the game is that you can take the form of an alien and run amok in human society.
50s America, I mean, let's face it, you've seen them. They've totally got it coming.
The best thing about the game is it's different.
Oh, I just love being able to play the alien for once, and the bad guy becomes the good guy.
I love just getting in the UFO and just blowing stuff up.
It's funny to mess with people's heads. In this game, it becomes a reality, and it's heaps of fun.
I don't think you understand the kind of power that these guys have. I mean, they've got one mission on planet Earth. They've got one desire, and that's to destroy all humans.
This is no game, gentlemen. This is mankind's darkest hour.
Fans of the Metal Gear Solid series have a new way to continue Solid Snake's adventures. It's a new game on a new platform, Metal Gear Acid on the PlayStation Portable.
This game is called Metal Gear Acid, which is different from the Metal Gear Solid series, but still fundamentally based on it. It's not an action game, but a strategy game. The reason why we put the word acid is this is still a Metal Gear game, but totally new. And acid dissolves metals, so this game has dissolved the old and has given birth to a totally new experience.
Part of the new experience is that Metal Gear Acid is a different kind of turn-based strategy game that has a card game interface. All of your actions are done by selecting 6 cards that are randomly loaded at the bottom of the screen. You can then preset your deck with preferred cards before you enter each stage, but if you want to move, shoot, heal, or hide, you'll have to use a card. And you'll have to think.
First, you start out with 30 cards. You can find new cards as an item within a level, or there is a break between missions where your gameplay will be evaluated depending on how well or poorly you perform, which then translates to money which you can use to buy more cards.
If you know anything about Metal Gear Solid, you'll have a leg up in Metal Gear Acid.
This game is different from other Metal Gear games, but once you play, you'll see that this is still the Metal Gear series, with familiar boss characters and similar stories. So if you use the knowledge and skills from the previous series, this will add to your ability to complete the game.
For this mission, you're going back to the future. The year is 2016, and the mission is to secure a secret project from a lab in South Africa. One of the hitches is that the lab is protected by a lethal military cadre that has already taken out a special forces team from the US. It's a tough job, and you know who has to do it.
The main character is Solid Snake. He has been living in retirement after Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty, but is activated again for the crisis by the American government. Another important character is a heroine named Taliko Friedman. She infiltrated the lab and was the only one who survived among the original group of commandos. She meets Solid Snake and they work together. So for your roleplay, you end up controlling both characters at the same time. Also, a commander named Roger serves as a colonel in MGSI, and he gives advice and commands along the way.
Since Metal Gear Acid was developed specifically for the PSP, it has its own unique style and features.
Developing for PSP and PlayStation 2 are pretty much similar. You can use the same 3D models and animations. But as far as the game itself, this is made to be a handheld game system. I've been amazed how powerful PSP is. The most exciting thing is that the screen is very big and crisp. I used to work in handheld games before, but I couldn't get everything I wanted in the screen. But this screen exceeded my expectations.
Add in the Metal Gear series' reputation for gripping storylines, and you'll enjoy Metal Gear Acid's plot twists and turns, no matter what your age.
Since this is a Metal Gear game, the characters and the storyline are geared towards an older audience, but younger audiences will enjoy the game as well, because it can serve as an introduction to strategy gaming. I think everyone will have fun playing this game.
Challenge? A quest for adventure, perhaps? Maybe you need a character makeover. Or maybe you just want to fight for what's right in the world. If you answered yes to any of these, we recommend you get a PSP system and load up Untold Legends Brotherhood of the Blade.
Untold Legends is a fast action multiplayer role-playing game. all about hacking monsters and getting fat loot.
Kind of a mix of classic high fantasy with, if this doesn't sound too strange, a little bit of steampunk thrown in.
We have a top-down type game where we're running around and hacking and slashing, encounter a bunch of crazy monsters doing cool stuff.
The Brotherhood of the Blade was formed to combat the ever-growing forces of evil, and they need your help to protect the last safe haven on the planet.
Untold Legends Brotherhood of the Blade takes place in a land called Unatica. The city of Avon is the last known part of civilization in this world.
The city's under attack by this mysterious new foe. So it's the player's job to go out and discover the source of this foe's power, and as well as the history that they've forgotten.
From out of the past, the fine minds at Sony Online Entertainment have created an entirely new and original title that can be played in a variety of ways.
I'm an old school D&D guy, and I was the lead designer on the original EverQuest as well, and that's where the inspiration came from. Untold Legends was developed, from scratch to be an original title on the PSP.
It gives you the elements of a standard role-playing game, which is building up your character with armor and weapons and new statistics and new spells and abilities, but because it is primarily action-based, it gives you a much more visceral feel when you're fighting as opposed to the turn-based game.
More exciting, at least in my opinion, is the multiplayer aspects, which allows you to take these characters that you may have played with in single player, join in a multiplayer game, and really at that point you're just more having fun with other people and going through the levels.
As you battle your way through this world of imagination and fantasy, you'll be amazed at the depth of detail in 3 dimensions.
Well, it's fully 3D on the PlayStation Portable, which it's got a great looking world.
The people that created our levels did a phenomenal job in creating stuff that looked unique, and yet we were still able to get randomly generated levels.
The storyline will take the player from, a frozen tundra to volcanic wastelands to underground dungeons to ancient temples.
For your part in the story, choose from 4 types of playable characters that you can customize to suit your style or mood.
We have a warrior type, the Knight, which is primarily hack and slash, but he does have some melee skills as well as doing buffs for other players around him. We have spellcasters. We have a wild type character that's mainly range type combat, and a druid which can actually cast nature spells, buff themselves, summon pets, that sort of thing.
We wanted movements that were unique. We wanted creatures that walked on both legs, one arm, some of them roll forward at you.
We have over 50 different monster models, and that doesn't even include the boss monsters, and 4 character types with armor and weapons that actually show up on the character so you look different than everybody else you're playing with.
In the hack and slash RPG world, it's all about weapons, items, and of course, loot. Untold Legends has all of this and throws in a few random twists and turns that keep the game fresh.
I think the designers joked that our game was about, killing monsters and getting fat loot.
We have over 10,000 different items that you can get in the game. Lots of them have really cool special effects on them.
It's a sword. Everybody's seen a sword before, but our sword has maybe a unique little spin to it, a unique little flair.
We designed the game around an organic game experience. It really adds, each time you come into the game, you get an entirely different experience, and it sort of compels you to keep going.
It's going to seem like a new game to the player, hopefully every time they sit down and play the game.
This randomly generated 3D fantasy world exists in the palms of your hands thanks to the power and potential of the PSP system.
One of the coolest things about the PSP is you're holding something in your hand that, really hasn't been seen before.
From the other guys on the team who have worked on other platforms, I think it's one of the easier platforms to program for.
It's this 3D, wide aspect ratio, really cool form factor, and then you play our game on it. You play Untold Legends on it, and you start running around, and it's just a different experience.
It's been the most fun that I've ever had programming on a project.
The PSP is an awesome little machine.
Not only is it fully 3D, not only do we have shadows, not only do we have, particle effects, not only is everything like a full 3D model, but we have a tremendous amount of content. With
multiplayer working wirelessly, it's just the beginning. The next step, I think, obviously, is going to be to be connecting people over the internet using the PSP. We're Sony Online. That's what we do.
Untold Legends is a brand new game with a world of possibilities, but the folks at Sony Online Entertainment haven't forgotten that the game still needs to be fun.
Untold Legends is a game that you can pick up and you won't want to put back down because it's immediately satisfying.
It's a fully 3D world, tons of random content, a huge amount of replayability, and it's just a lot of fun.
Wandering into a zone full of monsters and just spamming that X key and hacking and slashing away. It's not real complicated, but it's really fun.
And then when you add other people in the mix, it just gets even better. It's hard to resist.
If you've noticed that playing games today is more like watching movies, that's because games are more like Hollywood films than ever before.
I warned you the man was another Stalin.
Intricate photorealistic graphics are a big part of that, but equally important to the immersive effect of any game are the engaging, complex character dialogue.
We use things until we are bored.
And evocative soundtracks.
Our scores are on par with the best of any media out there now. It's on par with the film industry and the record industry.
Dialogues become more and more important as as the video game industry is beginning to parallel the film industry.
The audio team at Sony Computer Entertainment America knows that keeping on the cutting edge with both dialogue and music are two of the ways their games can stand apart.
Try the punch!
Let's take a look at how they do it.
I don't smoke. Maybe you'd like a drink instead.
Dramatic, realistic character dialogue is one of the key ways players can feel that they're more a part of the game.
Oh, lucky me. I have found my lighter after all.
The game becomes alive, they become immersed in the game because it feels like they're actual people and they're talking, having conversations, communicating.
Enemy contact. They've
getting hurt, being happy, being excited, you know, whatever. But dialogue can really inject emotion into the characters, which really makes things happen.
Each of you were handpicked to join this team. This threat is growing.
Not only does dialogue serve to fill you in on important story details, it also helps make your character unique.
You thought I was ready for the old people zone? When Bethnal Green are done with you, we'll bury you and your kid.
It helps differentiate characters from one another. Sure, you can dress them up in different outfits and different uniforms, but if each character has their own voice, their own way of speaking, their own style,
This is a restricted area.
Maybe you could have done everyone a favor and disappeared.
it really helps make it feel like a team, each person or each creature with their own identity.
What? Are you crazy?
That's all way back. O'Neill denies the shot.
He cannot be serious, can he?
Unlike movies which follow a linear storyline, the interactive nature of games presents a challenge to the recording team.
Just one lap to go. Only 4 laps left.
We need to be able to account for all sorts of different possibilities that the player could take in the game. So we have to record lots and lots and lots of dialogue. Not only do actors have to lay down all the dialogue, they also have to make each character grunt, scream, gasp, moan, or have any other emotional reaction. You need to make sure you have all the variations of being excited, being shot, being punched.
Susie! Ah! You're insane.
As games advance and storylines become more detailed, you can bet they'll be recording even more dialogue for future releases.
Brutal! Ooh, I love it.
Since games are getting more complicated as the consoles and computers are getting more capable of handling that sort of stuff, the amount of dialogue we have to record is skyrocketing. While dialogue defines storylines and gives your character a unique personality, it's in the musical score that the mood and emotion of a game are defined and brought to a cinematic level.
Oftentimes, the role of the music isn't really to be noticed. It's really just to create a feeling or a vibe, and it's most effective when it's not really capturing your ear. And then there's the other kind of scores where it just really draws out these big swells of emotion and it just kind of sweeps you away.
Because of its influence on how players react and feel about a game, music is now given big consideration early on in the development process.
There's been a big evolution in the way the music is being produced for games. I think over the last couple years, the biggest difference has been the amount of resources that end up going into these games. We're utilizing live orchestras. We're having bands from the record industry write songs for us. We're using their material. All across the board, the overall production value has just risen, where we're just among the best out there.
Music's ability to create and intensify emotions makes selecting the right type of music a crucial aspect of game development.
I've always thought of music as being almost an invisible actor. I think that's one of the awesome things about music is you take it away and you really don't have what you thought you had without the music there. And you even swap it out with different kinds of music and you can completely change the scene.
Okay, let's see how that works. What if we swap out this music for this music? Yep, it makes a difference, all right. Sometimes, creating the perfect soundtrack means bringing in some of the best talents from the recording industry. For Siphon Filter Omega Strain, SCEA collaborated with composer Mark Snow of X-Files fame, who wrote and conducted the exciting score. We
had a 72-piece orchestra, and we recorded the score up at Skywalker Sound. up in Marin County, and Mark Snow came up from LA and conducted the whole thing.
Music's popularity in games means that they'll be lining up new artists and exciting music for upcoming releases. Couple these great scores with intensive dialogue,
Said I'd be working with professionals, not a bunch of bloody has-beens.
and the future holds some exciting offerings for PlayStation gamers.
We'll just be able to just keep cramming more and more stuff in the games.
I think as our platform evolves, we're going to be able to do everything we're doing now, but we're going to be able to do it better.
Rise and shine, Marky boy. You got work to do.
Far from the blips and bleeps of the earliest video games, today's games offer cinema-quality, hyper-realistic sound effects that put them on par with the best films Hollywood has to offer. To see how important sound effects are to the entire gaming experience, all you need to do is take it away.
Sound is crucial to making a good game. For people who turn off sound when they're playing the game, they're losing half the experience as far as I'm concerned.
Sound works on a subliminal level and can really emotionally involve the player without him even realizing why he's being pulled in a certain emotional direction.
Whether it's making crashes and punches so real you can practically feel them, or making a stadium crowd come to life, the audio group at Sony Computer Entertainment America is dedicated to making sure you have the ultimate gaming experience.
What we're trying to do from a sound perspective is draw the player in, draw them into the world that they're playing, and make it believable to them. And sound is such a big part of that sensory input to them.
With multiple storylines and nearly unlimited action choices, the audio engineers and artists need to record and create a huge library of sounds for every game.
We have to take into account every possible action. We have to record a sound for things that happen, things that might happen, things that might not happen, and things that don't happen.
Whether it's guns, cars, helicopters, or even hockey sticks, the sound designers at SCEA spend enormous amounts of time recording actual sounds in the real world.
One thing that the gamers never realize is what we go to get really ultra-realistic sounds into the games.
For SOCOM 2 U.S. Navy SEALs, the team literally went the extra mile. They traveled around the world capturing sounds in the actual locations that are in the game. And they worked in association with the U.S. Navy SEALs.
This particular game is based on real-world environments, and the realism within the game is very important.
For the gun sounds, the sound engineers trekked out to the desert and recorded the actual guns firing and striking different objects that a gamer might hit during gameplay.
The night before we went out to record, we took a trip to the hardware store and we bought pretty much every kind of object we could think of that the bullets might be hitting. Everything from sheet metal to glass, light bulbs, windows. We bought a ham at the grocery store. We fired into all these different objects and recorded the sounds of the bullets striking those objects.
Strike three. The sounds at sporting events are so familiar to most gamers, attention to realism is crucial for games like NFL Game Day or NBA Shootout.
You can bring players right on the field, right into the stadium, and emotionally immerse them.
And every sport event crowd type is different, so we have to do specific recordings for each of those.
Talk about attention to detail. For some games, ultra-realism is not quite enough. Gamers want to have an experience that's realer than real. That's when SCEA employs all kinds of tricks of the trade, including layering some pretty strange sounds from their extensive library.
A lot of times we'll start out recording real sounds. We'll record gunshots, we'll record footsteps and all sorts of different things. And then we'll take those sounds back to the studio. We'll put those sounds into the computer and we'll sort of mix the sounds together.
Well, in football sound effects, we've used animal sounds like lions and leopards as part of the human sounds.
We also end up smashing up a lot of melons and fruit and you know, hitting big pieces of meat to get bat and punch sounds.
And in the end, hopefully we have something that's a good balance between realistic and extremely exciting.
So what do they do when the game calls for sounds that they can't make naturally?
The first thing I did that I can remember, I think, when I got to Sony was going over to the grocery store and buying everything from carrots to melons and lettuce and all sorts of different fruits and vegetables, basically bringing them back here to the studio and going in and just breaking carrots for the sounds of breaking bones, getting in with the hands inside of different kinds of melons and gourds and just sort of getting all those sounds that you could imagine to be guts and other types of internal organs.
With new game releases and platforms on the horizon, look out for some exciting stuff from the sound designers at Sony Computer Entertainment America.
So for us, you know, I think the audio experience is going to get better and better.
An earthquake!